A single man stands in the middle of a dusty road, blocking the path of a bulletproof convoy slicing through the savannah. The sun beats down. The wind is dry. In the distance, the sound of engines draws closer, louder, sharper, heavier. But the customs officer doesn't move. His boots are scuffed. His shirt is half untucked. And behind him, a flimsy red and white barrier stretches across the road like it actually means something. Inside one of the armored vehicles, the most powerful man in Burkina Faso, President Ibrahim Traoré, looks up from his files. He's not annoyed. He's intrigued. Because this isn't how the story is supposed to go. Presidential convoys don't stop. Checkpoints dissolve the moment the flag on the hood comes into view. Barriers are lifted. Salutes are snapped. The wheels never stop rolling. Not today. What begins as a strange act of defiance by a lone customs officer spirals into a deadly game of corruption, betrayal, and survival. Within hours, the president will come face to face with a truth that threatens to tear the country apart. Smuggled gold. Foreign mercenaries. Government betrayal at the highest levels. A conspiracy so large, so entrenched, that even the president himself might not make it out alive. But this is not a story about fear. It is about fire. The fire that burns in the heart of a soldier who refuses to let his country be sold off, 1 ounce at a time. This is the story of a man who stood his ground. Who didn't run from gunfire. Who didn't flinch when betrayal wore the face of a friend. This is the story of how one decision at a dusty checkpoint became the spark that ignited a revolution. And it all begins with a simple word from the president: wait. The heat on the road to Paix is merciless. Dust clings to the air like smoke, swirling in the wake of a presidential convoy that moves with mechanical precision. 3 armored SUVs glide across the sun-scorched highway, their windows tinted, flags fluttering from the hoods. Inside, silence reigns, the kind of silence that comes from discipline, routine, and total control. President Ibrahim Traoré sits in the second vehicle, reviewing defense reports from the border region. He's dressed in military green, his beret resting beside him on the seat. His face is calm, but alert, the face of a man forged in conflict, not ceremony. Then, the convoy slows. A red and white striped barrier stretches across the road like a joke, a makeshift checkpoint barely holding itself together. Beyond it, a small customs shack leans under the weight of peeling paint. And in front of it stands a single man. A customs officer in a faded uniform, chewing a toothpick and squinting into the wind. The lead driver honks, a short blast, the polite signal that this is a presidential vehicle. Time to step aside. The officer doesn't move. Captain Saw, head of the president's security detail, reaches for the radio. "Do you want us to push through, sir?" he asks, tension in his voice. Ibrahim doesn't answer immediately. He glances up from his folder and peers through the window. "Wait," he says quietly. "Let's see what game he's playing." The guards shift in their seats. This is not protocol. The president does not stop. And yet, here they are, idling behind a wooden pole while a low-ranking officer ignores them. The man finally strolls forward. His name tag reads, Zeta. His boots are dusty, his shirt untucked, his swagger exaggerated. He walks straight past the fully armed bodyguards, straight to the president's window, and taps on the glass, twice. A silence descends. The guards tense, hands near triggers. Captain Saw's jaw tightens. "He's testing us," he mutters. But again, the president intervenes. The window rolls down. Zeta leans in, eyes slightly too wide, sweat dripping down his brow, not from heat, but nerves. His cologne is cheap and overpowering, like he's trying to cover something up. "Papers," he says flatly. "No, sir, no, Mr. President." No salute. The nerve. But Ibrahim doesn't blink. He reaches into his chest pocket and hands over his military ID. Zeta barely glances at it before handing it back with a sneer. "Standard check. Open the trunk." The air crackles with tension. Everyone knows, you do not search the president's vehicle. Captain Saw leans into the window. "This is a setup. We need to move. Now." But Ibrahim surprises them again. He opens the door and steps out. Dust kicks up around his boots as he walks around the SUV to face Zeta directly. The president towers over the officer, not just in height, but in presence. His voice is calm, but there's steel in it. "Do your job, officer." Zeta blinks. He fumbles toward the rear of the vehicle. But he's not really searching. His eyes are darting, to his watch, to the trees, to the distance. He's not checking for contraband. He's waiting. Ibrahim sees it. Instinct, honed by years in combat, flares in his chest. Then, over Zeta's shoulder, something catches his eye. A large, unmarked 18-wheeler parked behind the shack, partially hidden by an acacia tree. It looks abandoned, but the tires are bulging, weighed down by something heavy. The back doors glint with a padlock that's far too new. And that's when Ibrahim Traoré realizes. This isn't about customs. It's a trap. Ibrahim's boots crunch across the dry earth as he walks toward the 18-wheeler. The air feels heavier now, like the sun itself is holding its breath. Behind him, the security team fans out silently, their eyes sweeping the horizon, fingers resting lightly on their triggers. Zeta doesn't move. He watches the president walk away, frozen, like a man who just realized he backed the wrong game. The truck looks like it hasn't moved in days. It's caked in dust, parked half in shade, half in sun. But Ibrahim sees what most would miss: tire tread still fresh, and the rear suspension pushed to its limit. The padlock on the back glints, shiny and out of place, untouched by rain or time. Whatever is inside, it's heavy. Ibrahim signals. A guard jogs forward with a pair of bolt cutters. The lock snaps with a loud metallic crack. The air inside the trailer is hotter than outside. Dry. Dense. And it stinks, not of farm goods, but of metal and dust and sweat. Ibrahim grabs the steel handle and yanks open the doors. For a moment, no one speaks. The trailer is packed floor to ceiling with burlap sacks, stamped with labels reading cocoa and cotton. Burkina Faso's proud exports. But the load seems wrong. Too dense. Too tightly packed. Something doesn't add up. One sack near the front has split open. Ibrahim steps closer. What spills out isn't cocoa beans. And it sure isn't cotton. It's rock. Glittering, heavy gray rock with veins of bright yellow glistening through the dust. Gold ore. Raw. Unrefined. Dozens of tons of it. The silence around the convoy breaks, not with words, but with movement. Every soldier present now understands. This isn't agriculture. This is an industrial smuggling operation, one hiding under the guise of legal export. A truck full of Burkina Faso's most valuable natural resource, disguised as farm produce, headed toward the border under the nose of the presidency. Ibrahim's jaw tightens. He turns around. Zeta is still on his knees in the dirt. The swagger is gone, replaced by trembling limbs and eyes that dart in every direction. He looks like he wants to crawl into the earth. This isn't your operation, Ibrahim says coldly. You're just the pawn. Zeta doesn't answer. But then, his radio crackles. A voice cuts through the static, clear and deliberate. Zeta is unavailable. But don't worry. I'm coming to meet you myself. The line goes dead. Silence again, this time more dangerous than before. Then, in the far distance, engines. Not from the highway. From the bush. Ibrahim turns sharply. Dust clouds rise on the horizon. 3 heavy-duty pickup trucks emerge, racing across the scrubland straight for the checkpoint. On the back of the lead vehicle is a mounted machine gun, already swinging toward the convoy. Captain Saw doesn't wait. He grabs Ibrahim's shoulder, shoving him toward the armored SUV. Sir, we have to move. Now. We are sitting ducks out here. But Ibrahim doesn't move. He plants his feet. His eyes locked on the truck full of stolen gold. If we run, he says, his voice razor sharp, we lose the evidence. Then he reaches into the SUV. Not for a phone. Not for a radio. For his rifle. The soldier is back. The roar of engines grows louder, animalistic, relentless. Dust rolls like smoke across the plain as the 3 pickups thunder toward the checkpoint. Atop the lead vehicle, the machine gun pivots, locking onto the convoy. Take cover. Captain Saw shouts. The security detail erupts into motion. Doors fly open. Rifles come up. Guards drop behind vehicle doors, creating makeshift bunkers. Zeta tries to crawl under the customs booth, shielding his head with his hands. No one is looking at him now, they're focused on what's coming. But Ibrahim Traoré stands firm. He crouches behind the front wheel of his SUV, rifle in hand, scanning the approach. His body moves with instinct, calm and fluid. There's no panic, only purpose. The enemy opens fire before the trucks even come to a full stop. The staccato rattle of machine gun fire tears through the air, bullets sparking off armored glass and shattering the silence like glass. The ambush has begun. But the attackers made one critical mistake. They thought they were ambushing a politician. They didn't realize they were taking on a commander. Ibrahim doesn't just shout orders, he fires. 2 sharp cracks echo from his rifle. The gunner on the lead truck slumps. The vehicle veers off course, skidding sideways and crashing into a ditch. The mercenary riding shotgun is thrown from the cab, landing hard in the grass. The other 2 pickups brake hard, mercenaries jumping out, scrambling for cover. But the convoy's guards are already in position. They return fire with chilling accuracy, each burst precise, controlled, and lethal. Captain Saw leads a flanking maneuver, coordinating over radio. Left truck, 2 shooters. Watch the rooftops. He moves like a man who's rehearsed this moment 100 times. Because he has. For 2 minutes, the air is chaos, gunfire, smoke, and the sharp scent of burning rubber. Dust clouds swirl around the battlefield. A truck tire explodes. A body crumples behind a rusted oil drum. Another gunman flees, only to be cut down by a burst from Ibrahim's guard. And then, silence. One final mercenary, cornered and out of ammunition, throws down his weapon. He raises his hands, trembling. Secure him. Saw barks. The guards zip-tie the man's wrists behind his back and drag him to the side of the road. He's not local. His accent is foreign. Military tattoos snake up his arm, symbols linked to a notorious private security firm known for dirty work across West Africa. Ibrahim approaches. He kneels. "Who paid you?" he asks quietly. The mercenary spits at the ground. "You're already dead, soldier boy. You just don't know it yet. The man who owns that gold, he owns this whole country." Ibrahim's eyes narrow. He reaches into the man's tactical vest and pulls out a satellite phone. The screen is locked. But there's one notification flashing. A set of GPS coordinates. Not near the border. Right in the heart of Ouagadougou, in the industrial district. And in that moment, Ibrahim understands. This isn't just theft. It's an organized operation. A conspiracy rooted not in the bush, but in the capital itself. Protected by foreign guns. Covered by official silence. Designed to bleed the nation dry. He stands, voice steady. "Captain, load the prisoner. Leave the gold here under heavy guard. Coordinate with the police from PA to secure the site." Saw nods. "Where are we going, sir?" Ibrahim climbs into the SUV. "To the capital," he says grimly. "We have a delivery to make." The sun is beginning to dip when Ibrahim's convoy reaches the outskirts of Ouagadougou. The sky bleeds orange and red over the rooftops, casting long shadows across the city. But something is wrong. The streets are unusually empty. Shops are shuttered. Market stalls abandoned. No traffic. No noise. Captain Saw narrows his eyes. "Sir, we've got roadblocks ahead." Ibrahim leans forward in his seat. Sure enough, police barricades stretch across the main highway leading to the city center. Armored personnel carriers block the bridge into town, not military escorts, but a full-scale lockdown. Blue lights flash in eerie silence. "This isn't security," Saw mutters. "It's a trap." The radio crackles. An unknown voice, smooth and confident, "Mr. President. I suggest you turn around. Accidents happen on the highway every day. It would be a shame if you didn't make it home." The message is clear. They're not just trying to stop him. They're trying to erase him. Saw slams the brakes. The convoy halts just before the bridge. Armed gendarmes in riot gear stand shoulder to shoulder, their weapons pointed outward. "If we approach, they'll claim we refuse to stop," Saw says grimly. "They'll open fire. Call it an unfortunate misunderstanding." Ibrahim's eyes scan the horizon. His face hardens. "Get off the road," he commands. The SUVs veer sharply down a dirt embankment, sliding into the dry riverbed beneath the bridge. Dust and pebbles scatter as the convoy disappears from view. Under the shadow of the overpass, the president makes a decision. "We ditch the vehicles." "Sir?" "They're too loud, too obvious. If we want to reach the coordinates, we go in small." He strips off his beret and military jacket, leaving only a sweat-stained green undershirt and tactical pants. His boots are coated in red dust. To any outsider, he looks like a soldier, not the leader of a nation. Ibrahim and Saw climb the embankment on the far side of the river. They flag down a battered yellow taxi crawling along a back road. The driver sees the assault rifle in Ibrahim's hand and doesn't ask questions. He bolts, leaving the keys in the ignition. They drive in silence through narrow alleys and forgotten corners of the city. Gone is the presidential convoy. Gone are the flags and sirens. Now, just two men in a rusted Toyota, slipping through the shadows. The GPS coordinates lead them to the industrial zone, a block of concrete warehouses, barbed wire, and shadows. Factories long since shut down or repurposed into something less official. Ibrahim's eyes fix on a massive windowless building marked aggregate storage. It's a lie. The place is a fortress. Razor wire lines the fence. Surveillance cameras track every corner. Guards with Rottweilers patrol in pairs, weapons visible. This isn't agriculture, Saw says. This is war. They park 2 blocks away and continue on foot. In the alley behind the warehouse, they find a weak point. A rusted chain-link fence, cut once before, then poorly repaired. They slip inside, crouching between stacks of crates and discarded equipment. A side door hangs slightly open. Someone on the night shift must have stepped out for a cigarette. Ibrahim signals. They move. Inside, the air is thick with heat and chemicals. The smell is unmistakable: sulfur, scorched metal, and something far worse. They follow a narrow catwalk high above the main floor. Below them, a scene unfolds that tightens Ibrahim's chest. This isn't storage. It's a full-scale refinery. Dozens of workers move like ghosts, melting the raw gold ore into bars, pouring molten metal into molds. Stacks of freshly minted gold bricks sit cooling on steel trays. The scale is staggering. They're erasing all trace of where the gold came from, making it untraceable for export. It's industrial corruption at its most refined. Then Ibrahim sees him. Standing by the gold, in a tailored suit and holding a champagne flute, is Minister Dio, the very man Ibrahim appointed to lead the Ministry of Mines. The man who swore to protect Burkina Faso's natural wealth. He's laughing. He's talking on the phone. He has no idea that 2 soldiers are watching from above. Ibrahim's hand tightens on his rifle. His breath is steady. He's staring down the man bleeding his country dry, bar by bar. This isn't theft. It's betrayal. And it's time to end it. Ibrahim raises his rifle slowly, the crosshairs resting on Dio's smug face. One breath, one pull, and it would be over. But before he can act, a red laser dot appears on his chest. Then another, right between his eyes. He freezes. Behind him, from the shadowed edge of the catwalk, a slow, mocking clap echoes through the refinery. Ibrahim turns his head. And there he is. Lieutenant Traore. Wearing the uniform of the Presidential Guard. Holding a pistol, steady, aimed straight at Ibrahim's heart. You should have stayed at the checkpoint, Traore says, his voice ice-cold. Now you don't get to be a martyr. You just get to disappear. The betrayal cuts deeper than any bullet could. Traore isn't just any soldier. He was one of Ibrahim's most trusted men. They shared rations in the desert. Fought side by side during the coup. Laughed over fires in the Sahel night. Now his face is blank, empty of remorse. What happened to you? Ibrahim asks, his voice low, almost a whisper. Patriotism doesn't pay the bills, Traore replies flatly. Dio made a better offer. He gestures with the gun. Move. They're marched down the steel stairs to the factory floor. More mercenaries step out of the shadows, weapons raised. Captain Saw's eyes never stop scanning. His muscles are tight, coiled like a spring. Waiting. But Traore keeps his distance. He's careful, professional. They reach the center of the refinery. Dio turns around, swirling champagne in his glass like this is a party. Well, he sneers. Persistent, aren't you? Ibrahim doesn't answer. You think this is about stealing? Dio shouts over the roar of the furnaces. This is business. We sell gold to fund the weapons your soldiers use. I'm paying for your war. It's treason, Ibrahim spits. No, Dio says, his voice rising. It's the future. This country doesn't survive by playing honest. It survives by selling what the world wants. Quietly. He raises his glass in mock salute. But don't worry. Your story ends tonight. You'll vanish. No body, no questions. Just another secret mission gone wrong. He nods to Kabor. Do it. Kabor raises his pistol. Captain Saw's eyes flick to Ibrahim's. A microscopic nod passes between them. They've trained for this moment. Now. Saw drops to the ground, sweeping Kabor's legs with a brutal kick. The pistol fires, harmlessly ricocheting off the steel railing. Ibrahim spins and kicks a large valve with all his strength. A deafening hiss fills the air. Scalding white steam erupts from the pipe, blasting into the room and filling it with a wall of superheated fog. Panic explodes across the floor. Workers scream, diving away from the blinding vapor. The guards stagger, coughing, weapons swinging wildly. Ibrahim grabs Saw. Up, he shouts. They don't run for the exit, it's blocked. Instead, they sprint toward a maintenance ladder at the far end of the refinery. Bullets slice through the steam, pinging off pipes and railings. They climb. Up one level. Then two. Then burst through a roof hatch into the night air, lungs burning. They're on top of a 3-story warehouse, surrounded by spotlights. Below, the courtyard is swarming. Mercenaries, armed patrols, vehicles. No way out. Then Ibrahim spots it. A massive industrial crane mounted on the roof, its arm hanging over the driveway. A convoy of black armored trucks is arriving. But the lead vehicle isn't a cargo truck. It's a mobile command center. With a satellite dish.